Such motion shall contain at least a statement of the facts setting forth the grounds for the claimed disqualification and the legal authorities relied upon the movement, and shall be supported by affidavits of witnesses who are competent to testify to the facts set forth in the affidavit. The district attorney may file a response in opposition to the motion and may appear at any hearing held on the motion. The judge shall review the pleadings and determine whether an evidentiary hearing is necessary. The motion shall not be granted unless requested by the district attorney or unless the court finds that the district attorney has a personal or financial interest or special circumstances exist that would render it unlikely that the defendant would receive a fair trial. Oh, hey there. I didn't see you come in. CRS 20-1-107, Part 2. I was just reading this. I'm going to do a quick little, I guess what would you call it? Summary of 2 pages, right? You got 1,000 fucking pages of criminal code, and I'm just going to do a breakdown of 2 pages, 20-1-104, all the way to 20-1-107. 21-104 to 21-107. Here we go. 20-1-104 is appear at inquest. This is about the relationship between the district attorney and the coroner. So the district attorney and the coroner, the DA shall appear at all the inquest. And then the DA's got the power to subpoena and examine all the witnesses. So not totally for sure what a coroner inquest is, but I would assume that a coroner's inquest is like their, inquisition. It's their fucking trial. It's when they present their shit to the DA. I don't know. But the DA has to appear at every single inquest. Every single coroner inquest, they have to appear, and they got the power to subpoena and examine whatever witnesses at any of those coroner's inquests. That's 21-104. 20-1-105, this is opinion to county officers. The district attorney, upon request of any county officer of any county within his district without fee, shall give his opinion in writing upon all questions of law having references to the duties of such officer, which may be submitted, and shall file and preserve in his office a copy of all such opinions. So the DA in writing, this means any county officer. Let's take the 12th Judicial District. So that means anybody in Alamosa, Costilla County, Conejos, Mineral County, Rio Grande, and Saguache, spelled with a G, Saguache County. Any police officer, any county officer, any city officer, not with a municipal court. If they have a municipal court, that just means they got 2 courts they could go to. But all the county officers in Saguache, Mineral, Rio Grande County, Alamosa, Conejos, and Costilla County, all the county officers can ask for the DA's opinion about the law. So, and the DA shall give his opinion in writing about all matters and questions about the law. So this is vital if any cop in the San Luis Valley is having problems saying that they're arresting, people, but the DA just isn't rubber stamping blindly well, what do you think is a priority? Do you have a priority list? What are like the top 10, top 20 felonies that you just want us to focus on? I think if the DA had a top 10, top 20 list of, felonies and freedoms, frankly, have a list of felonies, have a list of freedoms, and not only should they just give the police officers their opinions about the law, they should publicly post it. We all should know what the hell the DA thinks. If the DA, thinks this or that, the spirit of the law, it's amazing because it's like these goddamn criminal motherfuckers aren't paying attention to what the hell's going on in Denver. They don't give a goddamn fuck about what's going on in the, state goddamn government. The idea of the spirit of the law is that they're passing all these laws because if we read it and pay attention to it, and we're all kind of like being indoctrinated, but we're all kind of like, sorting through all the different various interests and adjudicating all the different various interests. The spirit of the law says that makes a better society. That makes a better society. The spirit of the law, the Montesquieu, the Baron de Montesquieu. The DA jurisdiction, all county officers, all the city officers without a municipal court can, ask what the hell the damn law is. If you're a cop in Saguache or Mineral or Rio Grande County and you're like, this damn DA sucks because he's not just rubber stamping every arrest that I make, what you can do is say, hey, dear DA, what the fuck do you think is illegal? Do you think this is illegal? Do you think that's illegal? Do you think this is illegal? And hell, if you have a good list, a CRS list, then he should just say, yeah, all those things are illegal. If you arrest somebody and they match the elements of each one of those CRS laws that you have brought up to me, I will prosecute that case. Now, the district attorney can also represent people in the county and people within the city, but they have to do it by resolution. So by county resolution, if the county or the city by resolution tells the DA to represent all the county officers and the employees, the county and the city, officers and the employees. Again, if the resolution, as long as it's consistent with the city or county charter, which none of the counties have a charter, but there's some home rule cities. Sanford's a home rule city. I want to say Monte Vista's a home rule city. Alamosa's a home rule city. But if there's a civil suit, if anybody in the county government, any of the officers, any of the employees, the treasurer, the cops or whoever, if there's a civil suit in state or federal court and the resolution, the city council or the county, Alamosa County or Alamosa City Council, if they pass a resolution saying that the DA must represent that officer, or employee of the city, then the DA has to follow that up. They have to protect that person. They have to give the protections and the services of the DA's office. Again, that's for civil suits in either state or federal court. That's CRS 20-1-105. That's fantastic. If you're a police officer in the city or the counties, Saguache, Mineral, Rio Grande, Alamosa, Conejos, Costilla County, if you're an officer in any one of those counties, all you got to do is just write a request, ask the DA what he thinks, and he has to, in writing, respond to you and tell you what his opinion, all matters of law, all questions of law, every question of law. CRS 20-1-106, appear and advise to grand juries. It's the duty of the DA to advise the grand jury and to examine the witnesses that the grand jury, that's been brought before the grand jury. So the DA is the fucking quarterback of the grand jury, whether he wants to be or not, at all sessions. All sessions. So it's not just very important, but it's a duty. It's a duty to appear and advise the grand juries for the DA. And actually, the DA should love those grand juries. Those grand juries can go, haywire, but the DA is there to rein them in and regulate them. But the grand jury is there to be inquisitional. They're there to find out the truth. Is there a goddamn felony or is there not a felony? What is the truth? What is going on over here? What is going on over there? The grand jury, there's a big Andre Psycho Barros, fucking serial killer. It'd be very important, I would think, for the grand jury to look at that case and look at every possible avenue, every different aspect, because, birds of a feather flock together, so no telling what the hell is going on over in that corner of the world. Now, CRS 20-1-106.1. Moving on. CRS 20-1-106.1. Advice to cops about affidavits and warrants for arrest. So not only do these 2 pages say that the police, city police, and county police can request the DA and ask them about his opinion about the law, and he's got to, in writing, respond to them. But also when it comes to affidavits and warrants, when it comes to affidavits and warrants and searches and seizures and non-testimonial non-testimonial ID, and court orders for production of records. All these legal documents, they can ask the DA, what does he think about this, that, and the other? What do you think about this warrant? What do you think about the search and seizure and the non-testimonial ID? What do you think about this court order that I wrote for the production of these records? And again, he's got to tell them. I think in fucking writing. So for the county police or the city police in Saguache, Mineral, Rio Grande, Alamosa, Costilla County, or Conejos County, if you're having a problem with, matching up with what the DA thinks is illegal and with what you, in Alamosa, marijuana is still illegal. So them motherfuckers are back in the 1850s. But Colorado, it's legal. So I'm sure Alamosa, there's police officers out Alamosa that are still trying to arrest people for, petty fucking marijuana offenses. And if I was the DA, I'd be pissed off about that too. I don't think that the DA should just release anybody and everybody because his big thing was bail reform. I think we should have jail reform. Bail's actually working out okay. Jail reform. There's motherfuckers that, need the goddamn hard, arm of the hammer, the strong hammer of the law. But there's other people that don't need the strong hammer of the law, and they need to be treated with kindness and decency. And if you're the system and you're producing criminals because you're piles of shit, and you find good people to, victimize and pick on, and then they go to the system and then they get, worse and worse and worse because the system isn't saying, hey, let's, try to strengthen your character, but instead it's saying that you're just a total low-life piece of shit, as if you're like James Holmes. Now, James Holmes actually gets protective custody. So if you're a fucking serial killer, you might actually get extra protections. But if you're just like, you just did fucking jaywalking, if you're just a goddamn jaywalker, you better watch out. You're not guaranteed a preliminary hearing. CRS 20-1-106.1 says three things, actually. Number one, it says you can, if you're a cop in any of those 6 counties in the cities, or I bet you even if you're in a city with a municipal court, you just have 2 courts that you go to. So basically all the city officers, all the county officers of those 6 counties, Alamosa, Conejos, Costilla, Rio Grande, Mineral County, and Saguache County, can ask the DA about all the goddamn questions about the law under the sun that they need to ask about this form and that form and every other fucking thing. Also, the DA must evaluate all no-knock warrants and render legal advice before it's given to the judge. If they sign it and date it, and then that means they approve of the no-knock warrant. If they sign it and date it and they write their attorney registration number, if they do those 3 things, then they're not just saying that it's written up correctly, but they're saying that they approve of the no-knock warrant. So get the DA's approval, right? The cop wants it done, the DA wants it done. Now it's just up to the judge to go ahead, probably to, issue the damn thing if the DA wants it. Part 3, Article 3 of Title 16 was mentioned in that section. I want to mention up here CRS 21-105, Article 10 of Title 30. CRS was mentioned also. So you have the signature, the date, and the attorney registration number. If you have those 3 things, then that's a good no-knock warrant by the DA. Now it's got to go before the judge, and then once the judge signs off on it, then you can kick that door down and arrest, those goddamn serial killing bastards. I think he may be a serial killer. Okay, then go ahead and kick that door down. Yeah, that's a major change here in the San Luis Valley that they haven't been doing, that they're doing now. And I think that's a progressive, positive development. Also, something about the DA may sign it if 16-3-303 and 16-3-301 is followed. So I'm not sure what those sections are, but Section 3, 16-3-301, Section 16-3-303, the DA may sign it if those 2 sections are followed. The DA is immune unless there's some perjury. I guess if he perjures something, I don't know how he could perjure himself. But essentially, the DA is immune. The DA is immune. If he signs off on a no-knock warrant, it'll come back on the cop. It'll come back on the judge. But according to CRS 21106.1, it can't come back on the DA. So the DA probably just would sign each and every one. Yeah, sure. Here you go. No knock warrant for you. No knock warrant for you. No knock warrant for you. And you, well, you could do chokeholds for life. License to kill? Okie dokie, here you go. James Bond, you got the license. Division of Criminal Justice and Colorado Department of Public Safety, they're supposed to review no-knock warrant policies according to CRS 24-33.5-5031Q. Again, 24-33.5-5031Q. CRS 107-21-107, disqualification. So a court to appoint the prosecutor legislative declaration. Number one, the General Assembly finds that the office of the district attorney was created by the state constitution and that the state constitution gives to the General Assembly the exclusive authority to prescribe the duties of the office of the district attorney. The General Assembly finds and declares that this section is necessary to protect the independence of persons duly elected to the office of district attorney. So that just says that the General Assembly gets to dictate what the laws to the DA is, what their exclusive. The General Assembly has exclusive authority to write the laws and the duties of the DA. And by writing the duties of the DA, the General Assembly finds and declares that this section is necessary to protect the independence of persons duly elected to the office of district attorney. So yeah, if you just got in there, you're a district attorney, you were endorsed by Bernie Sanders. If you're a progressive and you got a bunch of regressive Alamosians who's all pissed off because they're petty marijuana, he's not taking, they're a bunch of, dumbass fucking petty bullshit. They're harassing, their harassment of poor people for the fuck of harassing poor people. He's not putting up with that shit. If you look at the docket, there's goddamn fucking dozens and dozens and if not hundreds and hundreds of cases in each one of those 6 counties that I had mentioned. So for people to say, he ain't doing his job, sometimes it depends on where you're at and what, there's Costilla County. There's a bunch of Nazis in Costilla County. So a bunch of the police officers there are ignoring the crimes of the Nazis in the Costilla County. So, yeah, that's a fucking problem. You got all that, denazification talk with Putin and Ukraine. Both sides say Nazis are pieces of shit. And yet, goddamn Costilla County police allow the Nazis to run free and commit whatever fucking crimes that they want to. Southwest Costilla County around the Lobato Bridge. Robert Pickrell. Check out Robert Pickrell. Ask him all the questions. He's one of the piece of shit fucking right-wingers out there. He's a right-wing piece of shit. I'm not for sure about his Nazi affiliations, but I'm sure, scratch, look a little bit underneath the hood and I'm sure you'll find some. So anyways, I know he's a piece of shit and I know he's a criminal and I wouldn't doubt if there's, he's a white male. So what the fuck? You ever met a good white male? I haven't met too many good white men. That's for goddamn sure. So, what's my point? My point is the DA can be disqualified for personal and financial reasons or for special circumstances, something that, there can't be a fair trial. Somehow there's no due process or it's not a fair trial. The General Assembly, they're dictating this, they say, to maintain the independence of the DA. So they can be disqualified, and if they are disqualified, then you get a special prosecutor. If you try to disqualify them, you have to file a motion. It has to be filed 2 weeks prior. And there's got to be a statement of facts that's, attached to the motion. Number 3 says interlocutory appeal from order at Supreme Court. There's something about the disqualification, Supreme Court, something about an interlocutory appeal. That's 16-12-102. CRS 1612-102.2. If the DA is disqualified, then they can get a special prosecutor from really any disinterested lawyer in the state. Anybody in anywhere, as long as you're a lawyer that can practice law in Colorado, then you could be a special prosecutor to appoint, or defend the case. So any lawyer can be, the judge can go ahead and sign it if somehow the DA has a personal or financial gain to the damn situation, or some other special circumstance that would prevent him from being a fair DA. If he is disqualified, then the court can appoint a special prosecutor, any lawyer who can practice law in Colorado. So that means you can be a Colorado approved lawyer or an outside lawyer who gets the approval of that court. Some kind of reciprocal agreement for that court. Or maybe pull some My Cousin Vinny shit. I know a lawyer. My cousin Vinny. CRS 20-1-308. Wait, there's a 308. 308. Oh, okay. That's the payment. So the special prosecutor gets paid by that county. If the judge says the special prosecutor needs to drive a couple, fucking blocks over or whatever, they got to get paid by that county. Okay, we need to get a lawyer from Archuleta County to represent Saguache. Then that means Saguache needs to pay travel, and the judge can also issue a fee on top of, a bare minimum plus travel, and then the judge can add a fee to, the special prosecutor. So add a fee that the county has to pay for. The county that the special prosecutor is working at. So what's my point to all this? Well, I like the spirit of the laws. I feel a great comfort, actually, when it comes to reading the laws and how there's so many different interests that need to be adjudicated with the law. And so the law has had to, they've been around for a long time, and they've had to sort of balance all the, freedoms and felonies, the do's and the don'ts, and if you're on my line and the property and, how far and all this other shit, we just have to figure out, where do we fall on a lot of different issues. And we need to be on the same page with a lot of these issues. So my conclusions for Alamosa City Council, they're trying to oust the DA. The DA just got in there. He's a progressive, marijuana was legalized, and then now the wolves are allowed to run free. Now you got this damn DA who, isn't just a rubber stamper for any and every fascist fucking cop decision, every piece of shit fascist decision. The DA isn't just rubber stamping, he's like asking questions and shit, and it's just, ticking people off. These are reactionary motherfuckers. These are anti-marijuana, right-wing, Republican, regressive, backwards ass pieces of shit, regressive. So Alamosa City Council, I hope nobody signs that goddamn petition. But what they can do, at the very least, if you're having problems and you're thinking that the DA isn't doing what you want them to do, just make a list. You can make a list of the top 10 to 20 priorities. Here are the felonies that we think are priorities. And here's a felony that we think that you're not paying attention to and you need to crack down on it. He's got fucking thousands of cases. Just look at online. Look at the dockets in all those counties. In Mineral County, in Rio Grande County, in Saguache County. He's got, dozens and dozens and hundreds and thousands altogether with all 6 counties. So what the fuck are you talking about? Like I said, I can understand in Costilla County there are fucking criminal pieces of shit running rampant. A bunch of right-wing Nazi, child abusing, Nazi motherfucking anti-planning and zoning, anti-government, the sovereign right-wing motherfucking pieces of shit are out there. And so when it comes to the law or Colorado law, all the cops can request the DA's views. And if you want him to enforce the law or Colorado law, all the city council has to do is pass a resolution saying this is the law, this is the situation upon this officer, especially if there's an officer or employee of the council that's involved. And especially if it's a civil suit. So if it's a civil suit, they can pass a resolution. So all the police officers inside, Alamosa City and inside Alamosa County can ask the DA's views about, everything under the sun when it comes to the law. Is this law? Is this law? Is that law? Is this, is this a warrant? Is this the records, the affidavits? No-knock warrants, including no-knock warrants. Since the cops can request all the Alamosa city cops and county cops can request the DA's views on what he thinks to be the law, what his priorities are, instead of just arresting people and thinking that the DA should just rubber stamp you. The DA is the head, the fucking head honcho. He's the main chief. He's the main chief. There's a new sheriff in town, and the sheriff is a thinker, and that's good that we have, a bunch of military motherfuckers under the auspices of civilian leadership. That's the beauty of America, is it not? So he's the thinker. He's the one that says what's the freedoms and what's the felonies, what's important, what's a priority, what's not a priority. And if you have a problem with that, then maybe you should just quit and go somewhere else. Because all you got to do is just ask him, for his views on the law. That would be nice. I wish that power was extended to the citizens of, the 12th Judicial District. Just ask him what the laws are about this and that and the other. So that's what the county and the, Alamosa city and county cops should do that. They should ask the opinion of the DA and try to match, their worldview with his worldview. I also think that the DA should publish those opinions. If any city officer or employee needs DA protection for civil litigation from a state or federal lawsuit, and they pass a resolution, then he must defend, that city councilman or county commissioner or any of their employees. And last but not least, I think that the DA should write a list of freedoms and felonies for everybody in the 12th Judicial District. What are your priorities? I wish we had a common law. The Colorado law goes on, thousands and thousands of pages. The Constitution is the longest one in the country. So the DA should have a list of freedoms and felonies. Here are, a compilation, instead of, expecting all the lay people to figure out the law for themselves, only for, some insecure cop or some insecure judge to be pissed off because some civilian read the law. I would want, if I'm the, chief judge, if I'm the chief of the judicial system in the 12th Judicial District, I want all my people reading the laws and figuring out what's right, what's not right, and having these conversations with anybody and everybody. There's a lot here. Thousands of pages, longest Constitution. And frankly, I'll make this statement, all the judges and the prosecutors and the lawyers, I say every single one of them motherfuckers except for maybe one or two, and even them bastards, there's something they haven't read. But no single goddamn, for the most part, virtually all, I'll leave exception for one, possibility. But 99.9% of all the lawyers and judges and police officers in Colorado have not read all the criminal code, chapter, title 18 and 19 and all the way up to 44. They haven't read all the 44 titles, nor have they read the entire Constitution. So they haven't read the whole Constitution nor memorized it. I mean, you have to at least have read it to try to have memorized the damn thing. But it's impossible, I think, almost impossible. You'd have to start reading Colorado law at a very, very young age in order to understand every single motherfucking law. Even this is just, the criminal code, and it's, fucking goes on and on forever. 1,500 pages already. 1,500 fucking pages, and it's only, 2 titles. So there's, another 40-something titles. So every single lawyer, cop, 99.9% of all the cops, lawyers, and judges in Colorado have cherry-picked their set of freedoms and felonies. They might not even have a list of freedoms, but, especially prosecutors and DAs, they have to have a list of all the charges that they're going to charge, the public. And so have a list of all those charges, and then, it's all separated between misdemeanors, petty offenses, and felonies. And then amongst the petty offenses and the misdemeanors and the felonies, there's different degrees, with those too. So I think just actually having a list of all the damn laws here, if he said, here's a list of all the laws, but if he said here, we have a priority of these 5, 6, I like 10. 10's a nice round number. But that would be useful for everybody in the 12th Judicial District, the spirit of the laws. We would all say, okay, this is what he thinks is, the most important thing for him. That's a priority to him. I would be more than happy to, read those laws and to abide by every single one and keep my eyes peeled for any of these criminal bastards to, arrest them, throw them in jail, give them to the